Welcome to Business Voice, a program of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce. Each month, we'll feature business and community leaders sharing their stories, initiatives, concerns, and passions. Learn practical information regarding community resources and opportunities. Now, the host of Business Voice, Greece Regional Chamber President and CEO, Sarah Lentini.
Hi, everybody. You're listening to Business Voice, a program of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce, sponsored by Bartolomeo and Perotto Funeral Home. I'm Sarah Lentini, your host, also the president and CEO of the Greece Regional Chamber. We have a wonderful show for you today, starting with my first guest, Nick Semeraro, who is the owner of Donuts Delite and also Salvatore's Old Fashioned Pizzeria. Two wonderful places. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that is quite a lot of wonderful food in the region. Both Donuts and Donuts Delite and Salvatore's. How long have you owned those two? Did you start them up, and what's going on?
I did not start them up. It started up by the Fantuzzo family in 1978. I started working for them when I was 9 and kind of worked my way up. Yeah.
9. Wow.
I've been doing it for a while, yeah.
Yeah, you're 10 now, right? I'm teasing.
Something like that, yeah.
Right. I'm teasing. Wow, that's amazing. So you really grew up with the family and with the business. Right,
I have, yeah. It's kind of in my blood.
I'll say. And the two organizations, Donuts Delite, the two restaurants, and Salvatore's they're physically connected, aren't they? At least the one that I'm thinking of in the Culver Road area. They're kind of side by side, aren't they?
Yeah, they're actually in each other. So it's all under one building, just two different identities. So it started off as Salvatore's at the historical Donuts Delite building. So part of the deal was to build a Salvatore's at that location on Culver Road, but you have to keep the donuts there as well. Yeah. So with the Malley family and their blessing, they came in, showed us how to make the donuts in 2010. So that's kind of how it started again, kind of reborn in 2010 as both identities.
That's great. Yeah, Donuts Delite. It's so wonderful that Donuts Delite has continued under your leadership. And ownership. Donuts Delite was, in our family, an enormous favorite, right? Absolutely loved going to, the kids had their favorites, loved going there on the weekends to pick out donuts, and they were special. So you have the secret family recipes in your possession, huh?
Yes, we do. So we make the donuts the same as they did 1958. A couple things have changed, obviously, because times have changed, but the recipes, the way we do it, the systems are all the same.
That's wonderful. And you mentioned yet another family. So there's the Fantuzzo family and is it Malley? Did I hear it right?
The Malley family, yeah. So the Salvatore part of it was founded by Salvatore Fantuzzo. So that's where I started working. And then we joined up with the Malley family, and we kind of collided the two families together to come up with a new Donuts Delite of 2010.
That's fantastic. So I just have to ask you, how is it that you started working for them at the age of 9? That's pretty young to work anywhere, frankly.
Back then, it was a little bit different. I was a young kid, from a neighborhood in the city, so just kind of wanted to keep busy and make money. So I started off making pizza boxes. So it was nothing great. So over the years, started as pizza boxes, then as a pizza maker. Then as I went to high school, kind of got into management. And went to college and still managed, and I'm still here today.
That's unbelievable. I can't imagine that story is replicated by too many people. That's pretty amazing. And so it sounds like you're originally from the Rochester area then. You've sort of born and bred in the Rochester region?
Yes, yep.
That's great. And this is really a locally grown set of businesses then, which is also very cool. Salvatore's is local, right?
Yes, yep. Yep, there's 31 locations, all in the Rochester area.
Wow.
And now we just opened our second Donuts Delite location in the Rochester area.
Wonderful. And for people who, for whatever reason, don't know where the original location is for Donuts Delite, why don't we share that with them, as well as, of course, the new location, which I'm hoping people become aware of. Where are they?
Yeah, so the original location is at 1700 Culver Road, same exact building that was built in 1958. And the new location is 674 West Ridge Road in the plaza in the corner.
So what's the cross street for 674 West Ridge Road? Do you know?
It's West Ridge Road and I think Burnett. So it's the old doghouse. So it's a crazy story behind that. As we were building it, we started building it and renovating it and gutting it. And the family came and said, I know who used to own this place. And I said, oh, wow, what are the stories? Back in 1958, the Malley family, the founder, had a partner, Mr. Simpson. And they were partners for, I believe, like 6 to 8 months. And then they split. And Mr. Simpson opened up a donut shop in the same exact location as our second location.
Oh, wow.
And we had no idea how that happened.
Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah. So when you go in there, you can see pictures of them together, which is nobody knew.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So you needed to be there. You need to be there. That's great. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell folks a little bit about your food. Again, I would think that you'd probably have to be living under a rock not to have heard of at least one, if not both, of your wonderful restaurants. But Donuts Delite has like all kinds of really special donuts, right?
Yeah, we're known. I come from the culinary background, and all my friends said culinary people don't make good bakers. And I said, no, that's not true. That's not true. You can do both. If you want to, you can do both. So what we have is we infuse the culinary background with the bakery background. So that's how the cannoli donut was invented right here in Rochester. So now it's worldwide and all over the world. And I just saw it was in Sicily last week. They have their own cannoli donut in Sicily. I'm like, I've never even, how crazy. It started right here on 1700 Culver Road, and it became this big worldwide thing.
That's great. That's wonderful. And it started here.
We do a lot of that infusing. So what we do is I try to, create a background to come up with new ideas, things that people haven't done. Mm-hmm. This past couple of days, we launched a caramel apple honey bun.
Oh, that sounds so good.
We like to, and we take and it's vice versa. So we'll take the dough techniques and we'll bring them into the pizza and come up with something totally different that you can't get anywhere else.
Oh, that sounds really wonderful. And did you say you were in Sicily recently?
No, I didn't, but I saw it. I know a friend in Sicily. He sent me pictures that here's the cannoli donut in Sicily. I'm like, wow, that was like a far... It went all the way to Sicily. I mean, nobody even knew what a cannoli donut was even 10 years ago.
Yeah, and the Italians, the Sicilians said, oh, my gosh, we better get on board because, I mean, the cannoli is kind of our thing. So good for them.
Yeah,
good for them for imitating you. That's awesome. And how about on the Salvatore side? You guys, you do a whole lot more than just pizza, right?
Oh, yes. We have a full menu from, all pasta dinners to different pizzas to... specialty breads. We infuse the old school traditions of the pepperoni breads. And then we also do breakfast pizza. So we focus a lot at Donuts Delite on breakfast pizzas, schools, giving back to the community and churches. I have a soft spot for schools and churches giving back. So we spend a lot of time with fundraisers and Lollipop Farm and things like that.
That's great. It's always, it's wonderful to hear when a local business, is focusing on our local economy and providing jobs here, and then also giving back to the community here. That's the kind of thing that we at the Chamber really like to support. And by the way, thank you for your Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce membership. We really love having you in the fold, and are very excited about the fact that you're expanding, especially on the Donuts Delite side. It's wonderful that you've come a little bit further west. So what is that address again of the new location?
674 West Ridge Road.
674 West Ridge Road. And is that just a Donuts Delite store?
No, it's both. It's Donuts Delite and Salvatore's. That store focuses more on the kind of higher-end donuts, the eclectic. We're trying a new concept is to get it into kind of the pastry style of it. At first, we wanted to keep it simple because it was a second location. The first one's usually pretty busy all the time. So, we didn't want to overwhelm people. But as I'm starting to get used to the community in Greece, I love it. I love the community. I love what it's about. My kids play sports in Greece, so I know a lot of the residents there. And it's a different culture. I've already said the east side, west side. Now I'm understanding what that means of crossing the river. I didn't know what that meant for so long. This river thing that they have. So, I said, what is it? Other than I lose all my calls when I cross my Kodak. What's going on there?
It's really funny. I'm not originally from Rochester, but I've lived here, I might as well be because I've lived here a really long time. But I also, I think even people that live here scratch their heads a little bit about that East Side, West Side thing. And what's really funny is before I started working for the Grease Chamber, I thought I knew like everybody in business and in the business and nonprofit and philanthropic world and government, in the Rochester region. And then when I came to Grease, oh my gosh, there were all these other people. It is really interesting. It is most definitely, it's the largest town in Monroe County by far. It's also one of the largest towns in New York State. I've said this before, but it's like 96,000 people. It's the size roughly of the city of Albany, which is really staggering. City of Albany is 98,000 people, and we're twice the size of the city of Binghamton. This is just the town of Greece, so that's fairly amazing. So yeah, about time you came to Greece. There's so many people, and of course there's an enormous Italian population in Greece. So I would think that folks are really delighted that you're there, and we're hoping that we make more people aware of the fact that you've got this new location, because it takes all of us a while. I think all of us, I don't know. I know I'm like this. I have to hear things a few times before they sink in, and then I'm like, oh, oh, you're saying you're on the west side. Okay, now I'm remembering where you are.
We get a lot of people that drive by that still think we're renovating because it was a 2-year renovation during the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's a lot of are they open yet? So we put out open signs and things like that. We kind of went to the schools, introduced ourselves, kind of like we did 10 years ago on the east side is, getting to know people. Yeah. And I learned over the 10 years, that's kind of what I like doing is giving back, getting to know the schools. My kids grew up in the school district. So you want to be a part of those type of things and watching the kids grow. And most of the people we hire are high school kids.
Oh, that's great.
So, and we've seen them over the years in the different high schools come in, and it's amazing to see, now they're graduating college. I'm like, how old am I? What happened?
Tell me
but they
about
always
it.
come back and they tell me their stories, or, they learn how to have that relationship with people one-on-one at the front counter.
Yeah, that's really important.
Teenagers.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really important. It's going to stand them in good stead in future jobs. We hear that all the time from businesses of all sorts, that one of the things that is really difficult to find, people can get trained on pretty much anything except the soft stuff, the soft skills. Those are a whole lot harder to teach somebody. How to interact appropriately with a customer, how to thank the customer, how to make the customer feel good about being there, et cetera, et cetera. And it's sort of a dying, I'll call it an art for lack of better words. So good for you, because you're giving young people a chance to get a great first start and, obviously eat all the, I'm making this up, but, get a chance to eat a little bit of pizza and donuts while they're at it. So good for you.
They're good. I mean, a big thing that we focus on is building a culture. Is showing these young kids good role models, integrity, respect. How do you implement that? Let's face it, we get them in the morning when they're not awake and they're grumpy. We get them in the afternoon when they're irritable, and we get them at dinner when they're tired. So how do you make somebody, and I'm kind of the same way when I don't eat, how do you make them leave happy? What do you say? What do you do? You don't take it personal. It's just real life, and they get a glimpse of that, in 5-6 hours, and they can focus on their job and obtain these many goals. And they can bring that home and obtain goals outside in sports and in church and different things as well.
That's great. Nick Semeraro, owner of Donuts Delite and Salvatore's Old Fashioned Pizzeria. Before I let you go, how can people connect with you or connect with the businesses if they're wanting to know, your hours or what you serve? Or maybe even if you've got any job openings. Is there a website, a Facebook page, a little of both?
We have everything. We have website, Facebook page, every social media you can think of. You can call each one of the locations. If you go right on our website, it has all the donuts and contacts and things like that. So please give me a call if you want to do any fundraisers or if you guys need anything or we can get involved in any way. Like I said, we love to give back. That's kind of where I like the niche is giving back and seeing, the different organizations grow. So any one of those would be fantastic.
Terrific. Nick Semeraro, owner of Donuts Delite, Salvatore's Old Fashioned Pizzeria, brand new location on West Ridge Road. It's been a delight to have you on Business Voice. Delight through me. It's been a delight to have you on Business Voice.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Oh, absolutely. All right, don't go away. We're going to be right back with my next guest. Don't flip that dial.
funerals can be expensive. You may be surprised to learn that you can get Bartolomeo and Prado Funeral Homes 5-star service at a price you can afford. They understand one price doesn't fit all and strive to ensure that your needs are met within your budget. Their family of funeral homes are a part of helping to achieve that goal. But above all else, they promise quality service. The details are taken care of so you can focus on what's important. Find out more by calling Bartolomeo and Prado Funeral Home at 720-6000.
Since 1983, Herko Computers is Rochester's first and most experienced custom computer system builder. Herko Computers is proud to be working with many of our original customers, including the Greece Chamber of Commerce. Whether you need a custom business PC, gaming system, or network server, Herko Computers can build you a custom computer system that exceeds your expectations. Herko Computers also offers complete IT support for your business. We can configure your business network, provide security from viruses and ransomware to keep your business or medical office running the way it should be. Herko Computers is also a full-service provider of network wiring, Wi-Fi, and network camera systems. Need to upgrade from Windows 7? Give Herko Computers a call at 227-1270 to discuss your options to get your business upgraded to Windows 10. Herko Computers is proudly locally owned and operated since 1983. Call us at 227-1270 and schedule your Herko Computers free IT evaluation. Herko Computers, 227-1270.
Gift yourself a blah-free 2022. Boost your mood and your health in a blink. Blink Fitness is your fun, friendly neighborhood gym with tons of state-of-the-art equipment and a mood-above-muscle attitude. Join for $1 and get all the perks. What do you have to lose? Blink Fitness Greece is located at 2833 West Ridge Road in the Wegmans Ridgemont Plaza. Join today and experience feel-good fitness in a blink.
Shop the WYSL store 24 hours for official apparel, drinkware, and gift ideas at WYSL1040.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Business Voice, a program of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce, sponsored by Bartolomeo and Perotto Funeral Home. I'm Sarah Lentini, your host, and also the president and CEO of the Greece Regional Chamber. I'm delighted to welcome my next guest, Mike Freedman, who is Energy Manager for Energy Solutions. Welcome, Mike.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's great to have you on the show. It's long overdue. You and I have been talking about it for a while, so very, very happy that it's finally happening. So, Mike, tell us about your company. First of all, I think it's got a longer name than I said. So what's the full name, and what do you guys do?
So it is Energy Solutions USA is the whole title of the company. We focus on anything energy-wise, both commercial and residential. Commercial is our bread and butter, but we do have solutions for residential as far as installed solar, community solar, EV, charging stations for cars. We have all kinds of solutions and things we can do for residential homeowners. You
can set up a charging station in somebody's home or garage for their cars?
Correct. Yep, That's the latest, greatest thing now. It's going to definitely be ramping up, and New York State's vision for going completely solar, that there's a lot of incentives out there to go that route.
Wow, that's amazing. And I don't know about other people out there, but I know that I'm a little confused because it seems as though maybe some of the towns, maybe all of the towns have maybe started giving, their residents a variety of choices when it comes to their energy bill. Is that something that everybody's experiencing or just my town?
Well, I know that you have that in your town, and it has been the case we've seen sporadically throughout the state. It's not necessarily a good thing. You really have to read the fine print, and that's something that we as Energy Solutions USA do. We go through this with a fine-tooth comb because, just because it sounds like everybody in your community is doing this to save a couple bucks doesn't mean it's going to be a good thing. We've seen it end up costing over 50 to 150% more for some homeowners by enrolling in these aggregated community structures. So it's something that you have to look at on a per basis. And like I said, it's something we would be happy to do for anybody, as consulting is our first and foremost focus.
That's great. So if somebody had a question, similar to my situation, if somebody had a question, they could pick up the phone and they could call you or call your company.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of things that can be done besides getting involved in these, we can give you some ideas of what can be done. Community solar, we can help people get enrolled in that with community solar farms. We can help put installed solar panels on people's homes. We can give you ideas how to cut costs with your home besides going with an energy supply company.
Right.
So like I said, this is a consultant-based business we do.
Okay. And one of the things, speaking of solar, which is, of course, the thing everyone's talking about, has been for a few years now, one of the things that I've heard multiple times from folks is, well, we're in Rochester where the sun doesn't shine very often, so how can we take advantage of solar?
Solar is still very viable in this community. Yes, I've been a Rochesterian my entire life, and I'm familiar with the pattern of the sun. But you can definitely, with the return on investment in the solar panels is pretty quick these days.
Oh, really?
You're talking just a few years to pay these off, and you're generating electric, and in a lot of cases you can send it back to the grid. So with the technology the way it is and everything, you'll still be saving money with that. It's definitely a very viable technology.
So is it something that can be kind of a hybrid approach? Can you have solar panels but still have regular electric in your home, regular gas and electric, so that the solar, you're not completely dependent on it?
Right. You're not removing yourself completely from the grid, because there are going to be times when you're not generating peak solar that you're going to have to use some electric. And a lot of times we couple battery storage up with solar so that you can actually use the battery storage on the time when it's peak on hours to not be using electric when it's cost the most.
Okay.
So you'll always be attached to the grid that way. Use battery storage, again, is the newest burgeoning technology going along in tandem with solar. But the one thing you cannot do is use community solar with the solar farms and installed solar at the same time. That's not allowed.
Oh, so you might have kind of said this a minute ago, but I'm doing my best to track. This is not an area where I have a lot of expertise. I might as well fess up right now. But what if I had a generator? Is it possible to power a home generator or a business generator with solar panels?
Yeah, you could certainly do that to try to reduce demand and lower your electric bill. There's certainly ways to do that. And, honestly, this holds true. If you throw enough money at a problem, you could certainly, work things out and lower your expenses going forward. But, not everybody has that luxury.
True, of course. I'm just thinking about, this is almost more of a different question, perhaps less about saving money and more about having a backup plan. Should it be needed? Is it possible to have a generator that's powered by solar that is not dependent on electric? It may not be, because every time you turn around and you really think about anything anymore, everything's connected to, everything's connected to the internet, everything's connected to the power grid, and it seems rather difficult to come up with solutions that are independent of that. But that's why I was asking more about independence.
I would mention a case in point and look at California. They're having brownouts because everybody's plugging in. They're going to be like the first state to outlaw, the sale of, gas-powered cars. You have to be completely solar dependent. But, the problem is you got to plug the car in. That energy's got to come from somewhere. It's coming from the grid. You're overtaxing the grid. So they were telling people just a short while ago, hey, with these brownouts, we'd like people not to charge their cars between these hours. And that doesn't work for people. It's a problem, and we're going to see more of this problem coming forward. So I would say having a generator is a good thing. Basically, more and more people are going to be dependent on charging their batteries and whatnot. That's got to come from somewhere. So, like I said, if you've got another power source, it's going to be optimal for you going forward. Right.
And you said you do. You guys are energy consultants, and you deal with both residential and commercial, and obviously solar. And you can help now set people up so they can charge their cars in their homes or near their homes. But what about wind power, wind energy, other sources of energy? Are you guys involved with anything like that?
Yes. We also do, like I said, any kind of renewable we are involved with.
Wow.
So whether it be actual turbines or getting energy credits, you can buy renewable energy credits for your business to go greener, to actually involved with that too. So basically, anything energy spectrum-wise, we're involved with.
That's great. And I've heard you say kind of in your responses a couple times now that there could be some incentives, there could be some rebates, some subsidies. Yes. Are those at both the residential and the commercial level possibly, and that you could help people tap into those?
Yes. So whenever we do a project, we do the project from A to Z, so that it involves us getting all the available monies from the government to subsidize these projects. So basically, the only thing you have to do is say, this is what I want to do. We do the rest of the project.
Wow.
And it's turnkey.
Well,
so there is money out there. However, is it going to be the same level of money? It seems to be cutting down a little bit in different areas. So, we're being pushed into, hey, you need to go, buy solar and this and that and charging stations. But we see some of the incentives are being pulled off the table in some areas. So time is kind of the essence to get involved with these.
Oh, got it.
Plus, it's possible to be taxed in the future for not using green energy technologies like solar, that you'll be getting a surcharge on your electric bill in the future. It's already happened in New York City, so it's probably going to roll out to us.
Wow.
On the west side.
So it's very fluid. Everything sounds very fluid in this environment. And so you guys are dealing with both the states and the state rules? And I heard, you're all over the country, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. So you're
in every state.
In every state. Wow. And so you're dealing with I assume there's quite a lot of variation from state to state in the rules, right?
Absolutely. It's a real headache.
I bet it is. Fluidity plus, variation could be a lot to manage. And then, of course, there's the federal government. Is there a lead player, or is that even a relevant question? I don't know. Does the state drive stuff, or do the feds drive this?
The state's really the primary driver to this, because every state has its own set of rules, whether it be procurement, where New York State's deregulated, other states are not deregulated. You have no choice when it comes to energy. You just go through the utility and that's it. Others have larger incentives for green initiatives like solar. Some things have twice the amount of money in incentive programs than New York State does. New York State's tending to pull things off of the table when it comes to choice, which is not a good thing. But again, you never know what happens in the future. You said it was fluid. It absolutely is. Things are always changing, and that's just the nature of the business.
Yeah, and maybe that's the good news as well as the bad. So if something's changing in a direction you don't like, perhaps there's the possibility that it could change in yet another. And speaking of that, I'm assuming, and this is, I know, not your particular area, but I'm assuming that, as always, because this is state-driven, it means government is driving the general public needs to talk to its elected officials in order to gain information, as well as to express, any concerns or any ideas for that matter. So that's really the opportunity. So if people wanted to turn to you again for either residential questions or business questions, commercial questions in this arena. And, it sounds like you would kind of take on whatever problem or project they have and help them identify, solutions, and also any kind of money that might be coming their way that you might help with cost. But are you guys likely to be very expensive? I realize that's probably one of those "it depends" answers, but what's your cost structure like?
So basically, consulting doesn't cost anything.
Wow.
When we're doing a project with anybody, using our vendors, and we do a project, let's say an installed solar project, our fee is in with the project cost, so there's nothing after the fact. Whatever's presented to you, the cost, that's what it is. We have several different vendors that we use, that we vetted out, had our legal department look everything over, so we only use top-rated vendors with this. So when it comes to what Energy Solutions costs for a homeowner or a business, everything is tied in with the project cost. There's no surprises after that.
That's great. And you said consulting does not cost money?
No, it does not.
That's awesome. That's really terrific.
Yeah, we pride ourselves like that. I don't mind answering questions. What I do, and I can typically help somebody out very quickly with this, but we're about building relationships. Mm-hmm. So this is part of it. We're working for our community. I'm trying to really get our name out there and work with the people. So.
Yeah. And just to say this, too, your company is a big national company, which is good. You've got resources, knowledge, obviously. This is an area, of expertise that spans the U.S. for you guys. But I believe you're a Rochesterian, right?
Born and raised, correct.
Yeah. I know a little bit about your background, and I knew that you'd at least spent the lion's share of your life, but born and raised. So born and raised Rochesterian. So this is your community, and you know it, and obviously you like it well enough to have stayed, right?
Yeah, I stuck around. That's right. Yep.
That's great. That's wonderful. So if people have questions, as I do, and they could use some guidance in this important area, expensive area, but even more important area, right? Can they reach you in particular, Mike, and how do they reach you?
You can call me, you can send me an email, you can go on LinkedIn and look up Energy Solutions or Mike Freedman, and I pop up there. So there's lots of ways to get in touch with me. You can reach me at my office line is 888-322-8755. My extension is 127. You can also reach me at mfreedman@esui.us. And Freedman is spelled the uncommon way. It's Freedman.
Double E, F as in Frank, R-E-E-D as in David, M-A-N. Freedman, Mike Freedman. Yeah. Wonderful. I'm just going to say since you were, open enough to put your phone number out there and you want people to call, or you wouldn't have done that, let's say your phone number one more time. It's 888-322-8755, extension 127, extension 127. Mike Freedman, Energy Manager, Energy Solutions. Thank you so very much for being with us here today on Business Voice.
Thanks for having me, sir. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. All right, don't go away. We're going to be right back with my next guest. Don't flip that dial.
WYSL Avon Rochester.
Every life has a story. Bartolomeo and Prado Funeral Home takes pride in helping families navigate the path to telling their loved one's unique story. It's difficult to avoid sadness at a time of loss, but sharing stories, pictures, and personal items can lead to a path of healing as you remember how special they were. Bartolomeo and Prado certified celebrants help to create a meaningful celebration. If you are in need or want to learn more, contact Bartolomeo and Prado Funeral Home at 720-6000.
Gift yourself a blah-free 2022. Boost your mood and your health in a blink. Blink Fitness is your fun, friendly neighborhood gym with tons of state-of-the-art equipment and a mood-above-muscle attitude. Join for $1 and get all the perks. What do you have to lose? Blink Fitness Greece is located at 2833 West Ridge Road in the Wegmans Ridgemont Plaza. Join today and experience feel-good fitness in a blink.
Safeguarding your freedoms and your future. The WYSL stations.
Welcome back. You're listening to Business Voice, a program of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce, sponsored by Bartolomeo and Perotto Funeral Home. I'm Sarah Lentini, as always, your host. I'm also the president and CEO of the Greece Regional Chamber. I'm delighted to welcome my next guest, Andrew Hoyt, VP of Business Operations at Flower City Union. Welcome, Andrew.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. So Flower City Union is an exciting new soccer sports organization in town. Tell us about it, just in case people aren't aware.
Well, it's great to see professional soccer back here in Rochester. That was our owner's big goal, as we went right around 3 to 4 years without any professional soccer being here in Rochester. And part of Rochester's history in the sports world is being Soccer Town USA. So we kind of went away from that a little bit over the last few years, along with COVID and all of that. So now that we are, coming back, it's just great to see professional soccer again. We have a beautiful stadium downtown, so to see that being used again, it's great for the community, and it's good for the the people and folks that like soccer here in Rochester.
Sure is. We're so delighted that you've brought soccer back and that you're doing exciting new things. So where exactly is the sports complex that you play at?
Yeah, so it's the Rochester Community Sports Complex. So it's on on Oak Street, between Oak Street and Smith Street downtown. It's about 2 blocks from Frontier Field. Folks know it probably by like Marino Auto Stadium or Paytech Park or Salem Stadium. Those are the names that it had previously when there were other tenants there.
Wonderful. And then you've got some nice parking facilities nearby, correct?
Yeah, so we do. That's one of our biggest things is, most sporting events, they get you on that parking. I know I love going to a Bills game, but paying, $30 for parking seems always a little crazy. So our biggest thing is, we're free parking. We have security patrolling the parking lot. We also have Rochester police officers that are on site as well.
That's wonderful. Free parking, folks. That's awesome. And you guys are. What is the schedule like? When are the games played?
So the schedule ranges from we started mid-March, I would say, this year, and we're going to run until October 10th as our last home game. This year, our schedule is a little front-loaded, so we didn't have many games toward the end of the season at home. But next year, with it being our second year in the league is going to work with us a little bit so that, upstate New York playing games in March isn't always the greatest.
Right.
So they're going to work with us a little bit on that. Hopefully we get some more warm weather games in next year just so that we're not dealing with, 36 degrees for a soccer game is definitely on the colder side.
It is. Yeah, it is. Although I'm sure for the devoted fan, that would be fine. So tell us, too, a little bit about, so the parking's free. It's a beautiful sports complex. Food concessions, what kind of amenities do you have inside?
So we do a rotating food truck. We also permanently on site we have Nancy's. They do the classic carnival foods, hot dogs, hamburgers, all the fried foods, funnel cake, all that type of stuff. And then we like to bring in, some locally owned food trucks. We just had our last one in was Fairport Hops. They did a garbage plate night.
Nice.
And so we're looking hopefully to bring in 2 more vendors for next season as we grow, and as the attendance continues to grow, we will, continue to grow with the number of vendors we have. We hope to continue to keep a lot of local businesses involved as vendors for sure.
Yeah, and that's a good point. You're also reaching out to the business community, right? I mean, I know that you guys have. First of all, thank you for your membership in the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce. We so appreciate it. We love having you in the membership, and I know that you're interested in forging relationships with businesses as well as, Joe and Jane Public. So tell us a little about that.
So, yeah, we plan on making this an annual event, but we are going to be hosting a Rochester Business Night. Right now we have about 50 companies signed up for it. So that'll continue to grow, and we've kind of capped it for this year at that point. It kind of took off. We were expecting maybe 15, 20 local companies to be interested in it, and then we got to that 50 mark really close, or leading up to the game. So we've kind of capped it at that. But next year we're hoping to, continue to have networking events and things like that pre-game.
Yep.
We also do a lot of stuff post-game. Earlier in the season, we like to keep our games earlier. In the afternoon, so we've done some post-game events that, are driven for networking and things like that.
That sounds great. And you guys have box, am I calling them the right thing? Like businesses could be renting a box and, getting some refreshments and inviting some of their special customers. Do you have that kind of arrangement?
Yeah, so we have access to all suites. So the stadium has 14 suites. 2 of them are for right around 10 people, so it's a little bit smaller. Then 11 of them are for 20, 25 people. And then we have one big one that seats around 50 people. And that comes with free refreshments, so soft drinks, water, beer, some wine. And then we also have a catering partner who sets up different things for individual groups. So, they do everything from chicken and pasta to they've done some Mediterranean and Caribbean food for different companies. So it really depends on what you want. But they're willing to work around anything like that.
Oh, that's great. So lots of choices, a wonderful catering partner. And did I hear you right on the beverages? I heard lots of choices. Were the beverages a really good price?
So all beverages are included in the suite. So we normally do some local breweries, some microbreweries. Right now we're partnering with Strangeburg. So they've been providing the beer for all of our suites and for purchase at games as well. But we work with Genesee as well.
That's great.
Just providing some local beer.
That's wonderful because we do have a wonderful brewery, microbrewery industry right here in Rochester. So how great that you're partnering with them as well. So looking to the year 2, I know, when did you say the last game is for this season, by the way?
This season it's actually a special game. It's going to be on Columbus Day. So
wow.
It's going to be it'll be a 3 p.m. kickoff. So a lot of people should have off from work. The kids will be home from school. So we decided to, instead of trying to put it, 7 o'clock kickoff where it might interfere with, getting the kids down to bed for the next day, we moved it up. So it's going to be at 3.
Oh, that's awesome. So Columbus Day, 3 o'clock kickoff, last game of the season, and all kinds of nice reasons to come to the stadium. I know you have a party deck, yada, yada. Free parking, folks, which is awesome. And if people want to buy tickets or reach out to you for another purpose, how do they do that?
You can go right to our website, flowercityunion.com. Tickets has its own drop-down. There's single-season tickets. There's also, we're starting to prepare to sell season tickets for 2023. So people should be seeing an announcement about that over the next few days. And then our director of ticket sales, his email's on there. So if anyone has any special requests, suites, things like that, they can reach out to him.
Awesome. FlowerCityUnion.com. Andrew Hoyt, VP of Business Operations for Flower City Union. Thank you so much for being our guest here today on Business Voice.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're very welcome. All right, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Do you ever question how much value you get for the money you spend? Funerals can be expensive, and you should feel confident getting what you paid for. Bartolomeo and Perotto Funeral Home promises to deliver. From expert guidance to a warm, inviting facility to handling all the details during a difficult time. Their priority is to create a meaningful tribute for your loved one and for you to feel that you spent wisely. When you're in need, call Bartolomeo and Perotto Funeral Home, 720-6000.
Gift yourself a blah-free 2022. Boost your mood and your health in a blink. Blink Fitness is your fun, friendly neighborhood gym with tons of state-of-the-art equipment and a mood-above-muscle attitude. Join for $1 and get all the perks. What do you have to lose? Blink Fitness Greece is located at 2833 West Ridge Road in the Wegmans Ridgemont Plaza. Join today and experience feel-good fitness in a blink.
Safeguarding your freedoms and your future. The WYSL stations.
Welcome back. You're listening to Business Voice, a program of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce, sponsored by Bartolomeo and Perotto Funeral Home. I'm Sarah Lentini, your host. I'm also the president and CEO of the Greece Regional Chamber, and I'm delighted to welcome my next guest, Ben Albert, who is the owner of Balbert Marketing. Welcome, Ben.
I'm delighted to be here, Sarah. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I think we've had you on the show before, but it's been a while, and we certainly have a different, potentially a different listening audience out there today. So tell us a little bit about Balbert. It's your company. You started it. It sounds like it's a combination of your first and last name, right, Ben Albert? So tell us how it came to be.
Absolutely. I started it during the COVID pandemic.
Crazy.
And at the end of the day, I like to joke that I ask questions for a living. And the reason I tell that joke is there's two main focuses. There's a podcast that's a local podcast called Rochester Business Connections. Mm-hmm. Again, Rochester Business Connections. And then there's the marketing firm. We do online marketing for small to medium-sized businesses at Balbert Marketing. And it's all about asking the right questions to, determine the best solution for a business and really make an approach on online marketing. So that's our bread and butter, the online space.
That's great. And, both really important services that you're offering the business community and the greater community. I have to tell you, I think there are lots of small to mid-sized businesses, especially, probably large ones as well, but especially the small to mid-sized businesses that I think desperately need your services. And I trust that that's what you're discovering as well.
100%. And it's never square peg, round hole. If I can't help them, it's all about networking and making good introductions. So I just do whatever I can to help.
Yeah, that's great. And when you're providing, the side of the business that focuses on the marketing services for businesses, give us a little menu of what are some of the marketing services that you can provide.
Yeah, so from a 100,000-foot view, it's all about making an incredible first impression online, whether it's looking for new business for clients that don't know you or referral and repeat customers. You want your online presence to make a good first impression. So that's everything from a great web design to showing up properly on Google to being active on social media and actually creating buzz in conversations on social media. So anything in that online world, from web design, SEO, social media, Google, logo design, we have a whole slew of services. Wow. It goes back to where I started. It's all about asking the right questions and seeing what the client actually needs.
Wow. I mean, you touched on all the major online marketing, services, which one might argue are really the marketing services, in total that are needed. Those are really very different. They require, so you've got a lot of skill set there to be able to do web design and SEO and social media marketing. That's huge. That's fantastic. How did you come by, I know you started the business, you said, during the COVID-19 pandemic, which is pretty amazing. I mean, it's courageous. And obviously you've been successful. So where were you before, and how did you come to decide you wanted to start your own thing?
Sure. I mean, like anybody, I've worked for a bunch of different companies, everything from selling yogurt and setting up, retail displays to selling with online or working with online marketing firms that sell similar products. And it was really just taking my skill set for connecting, podcasting, and then the online marketing world, throw in YouTube University, and learning as much as I can to offer the best services I can. And I'll be the first to admit, I'm not the specialist in any specific category. So if a client needs something very, very specific, there's specialists out there. But I like to take that holistic approach where we can come in and handle a whole slew of marketing solutions for businesses.
And if somebody comes to you and says, I need you to handle my marketing, and, that involves my website, my SEO, my search engine optimization, my social media marketing, and you do need some specialization here and there, are you willing to take on kind of a managerial role where you're the one who finds the specialist and oversees the specialist, so that there's, you're really providing that one point of contact and accountability for the client?
100%. If I can't bring an ROI, if I'm not a good fit for any single thing, I mean, if I'm not a good fit, it's not a good business relationship for me or the potential client. So sometimes it's just finding them a better fit. Other times it's serving as a little bit of a media buyer and, shopping around. Other times it's just giving an introduction and say, hey, this person's great at A, B, and C. Talk to them and come back to me later, so on and so forth. It really is all about doing what's best for the client.
Talk to me about search engine optimization. This seems like a very important area, and one that's, sort of an ongoing kind of a challenge, right? So, are there things short of buying? What are they? Google words? How do you go about optimizing? Where you're going to end up on a given search? Is that something that you're really able to impact for a client?
Yeah. So there's 1,001 strategies.
Wow.
It all begins with Google. I actually think we talked about this last time, but very simple tip. It used to be called Google My Business. Now they call it Google Business Profile. But if you were to Google search Google My Business, That's traditionally what it was called, or Google Business Profile. That's where you set up real estate on Google, where you can put your name, address, phone number, the bio. You can add photos. You can make social media posts with call to actions right on Google. And a lot of businesses aren't optimized on Google. And what happens is their competitor comes up, or a picture of their home address comes up, or the phone number's wrong. Now, this isn't me trying to sell anyone anything, because it's completely free. If you Google search Google My Business or Google Business Profile, you can set up a free profile. That's a great place to start. And then once that exists, that's when you get into web design and you get into creating content and lots of strategies. But let's start with what's free. Let's get optimized on Google. Let's bring in reviews. And then we can build on top of that foundation.
That's great. So you're also leading to an important question, which is it possible to open the store and get some, professional assistance from somebody like you without breaking the bank?
Yeah, everything I just said's free.
That's
you
amazing.
Can go to YouTube and learn some stuff there. I'm not a consultant by trade. I don't charge people to speak. So I'm open to give advice to anyone at any time. Once we get into implementation and a long-term relationship, there's going to be an investment. But having a conversation with me is totally free. And taking some of these free tools and some of these tips online, doing it yourself, and then if you struggle, you can always come back and ask me as well. But it doesn't have to break the bank. However, invest in yourself. If you do have the money, I do recommend you invest in your business. Yeah,
that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, it really is. It's sort of critical. I still remember the days when, having a website wasn't even critical. And now I can't imagine anybody going into business without having a website and paying a lot of attention to what's on that website. So times have most definitely changed. Now, talk about the podcast, because it's a different entity, but it has the ability to dovetail with the, with the basic marketing business.
Yes, so it's called Rochester Business Connections. Actually, I host a few shows, but I don't want to confuse everybody because the local show is called Rochester Business Connections, and it's easy to find. It's at rochesternypodcast.com. So easy to find, and it's not much different than what you do here, Sarah. It's highlighting local business leaders in Rochester, New York, and the surrounding area, and extracting their wisdom, learning from their lessons, learning about how they serve the community, and networking, and just building a tribe of great go-getters in the area through the medium of podcasting and radio.
Wow. And how long have you been doing that? Has it been like a couple of years as well?
So November of 2020 is when we started. I actually launched the firm, Balbert Marketing, in August of 2020. Wow. So all of this was really a COVID passion project that luckily, knock on wood, ended up being my full-time job. So I didn't even know that I would be a firm at this day. But we got a lot of great momentum. I worked with a lot of great people, and now it looks like the rest is history. It looks like I'm going to be in business for a while.
That's fantastic. And so if people want to listen to the podcast, where do they go again? Say the address.
So if you were to Google search Rochester Business Connections or search Rochester Business Connections, anywhere you listen to your podcast, you'll find it. The website is rochesternypodcast.com. So if you want to go to the website, that's where we can find it there, too.
rochesternypodcast.com. But then it's Rochester Business Connection. Probably the easier thing is to just put in Rochester Business Connection, right?
I hope. I do marketing. So if you Google it and you can't find it, I'm making mistakes. So
it should be easy to find either way. Got it. That's wonderful. And how do you get your guests Obviously, you invite a few people, but are people able to come to you and say, I'd like to be on the podcast?
Yes. I will say I get a lot of inquiries. But at the end of the day, business owners, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, or anyone who's really a mover or shaker, one thing that's incredible about Rochester is there's tens of thousands of great business people.
Yep.
So I can't have everyone on.
Right.
But if you're an owner, an entrepreneur, or a thought leader in some regard, it could be in the charity space, just someone who's doing something different than the average Jill or Joe, I'd love to consider you for the show.
That's great. And how often do you record, and how long is the podcast?
Podcast is weekly. The episodes last from 30 to 60 minutes long.
That's great. That's a lot of work. You're in the studio recording quite often then if you're doing a weekly hour-long podcast. I have just a little bit of a sense of how much work that is, so that's awesome. That's great. And going back to the marketing business, is the podcast, is there a way in which you already do or see the podcast and the marketing business working together?
Sure. So I do not run ads. I could. I don't run ads. I really just use the podcast to give back to the community and to network and make great connections with awesome people. So the podcast is more of a cost center. It's an investment for me. But through the relationships I get to build with other business leaders, that leads into business for the marketing company. But there's no requirement to spend money on me to be on the show, and obviously no requirement to spend any money by listening to the show. That's my way of giving free value, and then if I'm a good fit to work with, let's work together. But again, no requirements at all.
That's nice. Very, very nice. And just to give us a taste, who are some of the guests that you've had on recently that people might be interested in?
Oh, wow. I feel like I'd have to pull this up. I've had so many on.
You could be in trouble, right? It's horrible to have to select.
Well, see, we've had everyone from Michael Scrow, who's a leadership coach, to Jason Barrett, the owner of Black Button Distilling. Jamie Saunders is the president of United Way of Rochester and Finger Lakes, to Kyle Ruggieri, who's a YouTuber and basically a alcohol abuse recovery coach. So everything from charities to alcohol recovery to Black Button, which is drinking, to mindset, et cetera, et cetera.
And Black Button was also producing hand sanitizer, right? Not that long ago.
We talked a lot about that and on how they pivoted during COVID to produce that hand sanitizer. So that's a great episode. Yeah,
it sounds wonderful. And obviously a very interesting and eclectic list. Thank you for sharing that, just to give our listeners a little bit of a sense of the type of, the sort of the broad range of guests that you're bringing on. Not strictly speaking just business people either, as you I think had mentioned, and rightfully so. So as you move forward with these two businesses, do you have a vision? There's some things you want to get done in the next couple of years. Anything that our listening audience might be particularly interested in learning?
I say we want to move the needle on 1 million careers, one conversation at a time. So I'm here to have conversations with brilliant people, and hopefully the listeners get that light bulb moment and something we talk about helps move the needle on their career. And if we can do that one conversation at a time and build some momentum, our work was, I don't even know what to say. It's my work's done even if I can move the needle on 10 careers, but the goal is 1 million.
I love it. And I love how you explained that, and it is inspirational. Ben Albert, owner of Balbert Marketing, thank you so much for being here with us here today on Business Voice.
Thank you, Sarah Lentini. You're amazing. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. All right, that just about does it for us here today on Business Voice, a program of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce sponsored by Bartolomeo and Perotto Funeral Home. I'm so delighted that we got to talk with Nick Semeraro of Donuts Delite and Salvatore's Pizza, Mike Freedman of Energy Solutions, Andrew Hoyt of Flower City Union, and of course Ben Albert of Balbert Marketing. Thank you so much to all my guests. I also want to make sure you guys check out the website at greecechamber.org, not only for all the upcoming things that we have, but especially for our 35th Annual Community Awards, which is coming up on September 22nd in the evening. It's an evening gala. Starts at 6 with a reception, 7 p.m. The program and the dinner starts. Very delighted and very appreciative to M&T Bank for being our presenting sponsor. Also to Doug Embledge, who is once again, for the 35th year, going to be our MC. Can you believe that? All 35 years, Doug Embledge. Thank you, Doug. And I also want to give special thanks to our board chair and our Community Awards committee chair, Eugene Welch, who is a partner and attorney at Tully Rinke PLLC. Thank you so much, Gene. All right, check out greecechamber.org, and until next time, be well.
You've been listening to Business Voice. The Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce serves businesses, nonprofits, and individuals throughout the region, focusing on promoting economic and community development and serving as the voice for business. The Chamber offers networking, education, advocacy, community events, and business services. It serves as an important platform for business leaders and citizens to come together in support of common goals.